going to empower them economically? I went to some installation somewhere, hotspot somewhere in Ahoda, right? And the whole drive from the major road to that facility is, you could tell that I could see briquettes, this palm nut briquettes, right? The road is very good, but the people are not tapping into that opportunity. But they have the HCDT and they're dealing with other issues. So I, as the concessionaire, I'm worried about their economic development, right? That might not be their focus at that time, because I see them building hospitals, renovating hospitals and renovating schools. So the idea for us as NUIMS is there's still opportunity for CSR. It's not a double D. It's for your business, because it might be for your optics. For some people, it will be the optics, but we strongly believe that the HCDT and CSR helps you to be in the hearts and minds of your community, knowing that for our industry, any shot in costs the nation a lot of money, and you want to mitigate that any which way you can. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dr. Uzo has a question. But I wanted us to have 1 minute closing remark, and I've been looking at the time. I was going to stop at 4 minutes. So if Dr. Uzo, if you go ahead, do closing remarks.
Okay.
Or can I have additional 4 minutes?
Okay.
No, please go. I would like to hear your feedback. I like to hear different perspectives. Yeah.
I know while she was talking, I'm sure that some of our colleagues will be on, because earlier it was raised at 10%, 3% NDDC fund, and the rest of it. However, so those are additional costs, to the expenses that the companies are already running in regards to the CSR issues. But however, it all depends. What I will say is that it all depends on the ESG culture of the company. Okay? Because, and it should be voluntary. Okay? It should be purely voluntary. It shouldn't be something that should be mandated or force the companies to undertake. There's a program we just finished. It has been in the papers in the past last week or thereabouts. We call it Future Leaders Program. Okay? Each of the undergraduates that are on their program, we're giving them ₦1 million each per session. Now, they are not even from the communities. This is something we did on our own. Okay? And then it's for our brand, because right from the onset, the philosophy guiding our program is such that we have to give back to the company. So before the HCDT, we are already championing CSR, deepening it and widening it. However, with the HCDT, this has become a kind of additional cost. But if the board decides that, this is okay for us to do, fine, so be it, but maybe it shouldn't be mandatory. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Do you want to have a closing remark, Abibola? And a follow-up question? Okay. Okay, so if you have 34 seconds before Q&A.
Yes, I'll try to wrap it up. I think the good thing about this panel is it kind of cuts across an intersection of community relations specialist and someone like me who sits at the intersection of business, legal, and operational risks. Most times when we sit together in these types of things, it looks like we all know the answers, right? And then the question is, why are we still where we are? There has to be a connect. He spoke about how HCDT is turning into another tier of government. And then we spoke about things like capacity and sustainability of projects. The truth is, for example, if you speak to a government official or like a politician, he will tell you that a project I can see will earn me more praise than sending a couple of people to a technical school. We're falling into that same trap where the folks that are doing community relations will come to the business angle and tell the board that, you know what, let's train 50, 100 guys in plumbing, in woodworks, in this. Let them have things to do so that they're busy and not just breaking our pipelines, right? But it looks good for me in the boardroom to say, I'm just going to build a fancy school and take pictures. So there has to be that sincerity in terms of our outlook as to what we're doing. This is a business enabler. It may look good for you today, but tomorrow, as she said, if there's a shutdown, for some corporate entities, it's almost a calamity. So we need to be able to get to that intersection where we tell ourselves that, look, we're not here for the optics. We're not here to become another tier of government, and we're not just here for those highfalutin or big-looking these things. There's so many things we can do. Sending children to school, training adults in terms of technical skills, which could even end up serving the companies themselves in future. So, quite apart from the CSR, which, as they said, would talk about your ESG outlook as a company, in terms of how we deal with HCDT and how the stakeholders, if internal and external, look at things, we have to conceptualize these models where we know that what we're doing is driving that change and achieving that social objective, why this entire model was created in the first place.
Thank you very much. We have to go to Q&A right now. Thank you. Thank you.
I was hoping I wouldn't have to prompt for a round of applause for our panelists once again. I was just hoping that this session was revealing and enlightening enough. Okay, thank you to all our panelists and our moderator. Just a few housekeeping. If you'd like to know more about First Fiduciary and AO2 Legal, that is the organizers of this event, this is put around the room, so you can just scan this QR code and it will take you to the right place for the relevant information. All right, Q&A. Question. Aha, I knew. Thank you. I just saw, before I said Q&A is up, like 3 hands have gone up. As I said, the session was revealing and engaging, so let's do it. Again, from the back, because you see, many times, well, in public speaking, people at the back feel left out. So I'll start from the back. Please raise your hands very well. You will be number 1. Please. Number 2. Going. Madam, I said number 3. Going. So don't worry, I panelist already. Number 4. Who else? Number 4, right? So, as I said, sir, you're a panelist. Oh, sir, would you like to? Just curious. Okay, so number 5. Excellent. All right. So the first person, number 1, please come forward. We would like to have you in front, because then for. Oh, by the way, please like to thank all. That's the camera, right? We'd like to thank all our online audience. Thank you for being there. I was hoping we could get questions or reactions from you, but somehow, I don't know how the technology will enable us. Sir, please come. So that they will feel part of the room, please can we give a round of applause for all those that have been online streaming? Okay. Your name, your organization, and your question. You have the option of directing the question to whomever you choose. You will not back them. You will not back them.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ibuka Michael. I'm a radio presenter with Jordan FM. I'm also a book vendor. My question goes to the lady wearing eyeglasses. So she made mention of increase the capacity of schools instead of building more schools, increase the capacity of hospitals instead of building more hospitals. So how realistic is that? Because people are building more schools in the country. We have many more private universities and they are still springing up. So how do you, is that, how has that point you made realistic in our country? Because more private universities are coming up, the adverts are always rolling. So why are we not building that capacity? The same goes with the hospital. Government officials are traveling out of the country for hospital care. So I wanted to know if that is what she said is how it's going to be attainable.
Thank you, Mr. Radio Presenter. I guess that you want to go into politics and you are one of those that like to see your work very evident and not. Okay, that's number one. We'll take everything together. Number two, yes, the lady in red. Don't sing the song. As I said it, somebody just said it.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you to the panelists for quite an insightful session. I have a comment and a question. So my comment is that talking about like the added layer of CSR with HCDT, and like Mr. Dari said in the previous panel. So he said that, he used the words, he said, I mean, it's not charity. And, you know, shareholders are particular about returns on income. And so I think it will be a mix of everything, a mix of the fact that the optics are there for the business and for the shareholders to know that they are contributing their quota, while we are also here to make real impact. So my question is that, is there a way state government can be involved in needs assessment if eventually we may need them for sustainable development or, you know, capacity building? Is there a way at that level when we start the needs assessment, is there a way we can collaborate with them, our settlers can engage them to see that the project they are proposing can be something that would outlast or it can be self-sustaining? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Number 3. Oh, yes. Okay. Oh, you're number 4. And of course, the biggest masquerade dances last.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Magdalene Husseini. I'm from ND Western Limited. Okay, so I don't even know if it's a comment or a question. Okay, but so for CSR, for our own host communities, they see CSR. Sorry. So it's CSR, and then there's the HCD. So you're distracting me. I'm sorry. So I'll just give you an example. We had this session with our host communities, and we went through everything that should be taken care of by the host community trust. But they came up to say, no, this is CSR. So they expect CSR in addition to, you know, the host community trust, but they see it as an entitlement. They don't see it as, you know, something we could just do as an add-on. And this 3%, you know, it's still a bit new. So everybody is trying to see, okay, what can we do with this? What is happening here? So I feel, this is my personal opinion, like the man over here. So this is Magdalene's opinion. Let the 3% thing simmer first, because there's still call for FTO payments. There's still, and these things should ordinarily be taken care of by this 3%. But there is still call for all these things. The community wants them in addition and see it as a right. So I don't know. What can the commission do about this? What can we in this room do about it so that it is clear that anything we do is an add-on, but this is what the law says and this is what they are entitled to. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Sincere apologies for the distraction. It was a good one because if you had stayed there on, the speaker is revolting because the mic is directly in front of it. And that's why you're hearing that sound. So I'm not doing it. Aha! Madam, we have. Ma'am? Have we closed the room for question? Okay. So, as you have noticed, the organizers are very deliberate about not cutting questions and taking all the responses. The reason is, it will not be a roundtable if that's not done. And that is why it's important. So, you are number 6. No, you are number 5 because the biggest masquerade was dance last. This is number 4 here. So she'll be number 5, and then we'll still have engineer Karen. Please.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so still on CSR, the fear here is precedence. We should all remember, that the CSR initially was discretionary at the onset, but at some point it became mandatory because the committees will force you to do it, and that's why we came to the quagmire that we came in before the HCDT. So I don't think we want to go back to that discretionary that will be made mandatory. Today, I was responding to a letter from a particular committee asking us how many number of students will give scholarship this year, what their Christmas, Xmas will be, and some other things, So if you start that, how will you end it? So that's the fear. In as much as we would love to do that. Number 2, on the needs assessment, I've participated with AUPLC on about 6 CDP reviews. A whole lot of things. The needs assessment is meant to be the needs of the community, so most times we don't want to interfere. But I tell you, there's need to interfere. Things like appeasement, okay? You know what appeasement means? It was in CDP. We have issue of multiple projects, but I don't want to flag on that again. But more importantly, we talk about collaborating with local government area. A particular committee wanted to construct a road project, but they need to bribe the local government to get permission to construct that road. But we said no, we can't. If you're not allowing them to do that road, then we'll remove it from the project. So I'm saying this, just to put it to NPRC, but there needs to be done on that needs assessment. Now we have the first 5 years. We should be taking note of things, that we need to improve on in the next round. And we shouldn't leave the needs assessment to the committees alone. Like somebody said, there's need to, okay, Mrs. Edido, we need to collaborate with the NDAs, the government, in as much that we don't want them to interfere, but we need to engage them. We need to have that harmonization of projects within the states so that we don't duplicate or we don't absorb them of not using the fund they earlier had marked for those projects. Okay, so please, APLC, we would love to take note of the gaps identified in this first round so that we can build on it in the next round. Please, we will assist in identifying those gaps so that we can pass it on. Thank you.
You see why I say you're a panelist. Okay, again, you see, and then, sir, they now directed questions to you, even though you're not on the panel, because you are, as I said, the big masquerade. So please let's have you, then we'll come to the. By the way, please, that QR code, this QR code is for feedback. It's the first of its kind that we're having this roundtable that brings all critical stakeholders together. And I think it was, I'm not sure, from the panel session that continuous education needs to be done again and again. And so we see the importance of occasions like this. And if I recall, when the chairman of First Fiduciary spoke, he said this is the first. It means that there will be more. So First Fiduciary and AO2 Law would appreciate your feedback on ways to improve the next edition, and then the next, and then the next. Okay, sir, engineer. No, oh, you see, that's why it's not good to. Please make it your name and your organization.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much to the panelists, and thank you to AO2 Law, First Fiduciary, for this opportunity. My name is Olaoluwa Ashike. I'm from Eliva Group. We're settlers, and interestingly, we're in the process of setting up a HCDT, yeah. The question I had was on, or maybe it's just to get insights on settler collaboration. So I appreciate that no two HCDT will have the same set of communities, but in some instances there might be certain overlaps where there are communities, maybe in a HCDT where that comprises of 4 communities, maybe there are 2 here that overlap with another settlers HCDT. How do we then prioritize in getting, I don't know if the commission can assist, so that when we're drawing up our plan, and maybe this is something Host Comply would afford us, where we're drawing up our plan, we can prioritize so that we're not going after the same projects, going after the same impact, and that we're collaborating, as was said, synergizing our efforts to ensure that the communities are being impacted just as they need to be. Thank you. Thanks for the concession.
It's how they kept dragging the commission in this. Okay, so last by no means least, for your reactions, questions, and of course insight before we go to the panelists for their own reaction. Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you very much. Second panel. I want to quickly address the issue of the CSR matter. If we go to section 316 of the PIA, let me start from what the law says. 316 says every settler shall transfer any existing host community development project or scheme under its corporate social responsibility or memorandum of understanding or any other agreement to a host community development trust established under this act. The law is very clear. Any CSR, any MOU, any agreement transfer to HCDT. However, if you feel, like Madam has stated, very germane point, if you feel you can do something on top of that, nobody's stopping you. At the very beginning, an operator came to us and the complaint was that, pre-PIA were doing a particular percentage of their profits. That was what they had agreement with the host community. I can't remember the exact figure, but it was a percentage of their profits. And computing 3% of OPEX, that will be
less than what they were doing pre-PIA. And they were like, no, we cannot go less than what we were doing, before. And we told them, yeah, no problem, fulfill the 3% of OPEX. Then if you want to do anything extra, so that you don't go below what you were doing before, you are free to do that. So long as your community, they are okay, you have freedom to operate, no problems. You understand? So that is the position of the law. The law says roll it over into the HCDT. But if you want to do something extra, I imagine that companies that are publicly quoted, you come for your AGM and you tell your shareholders that I have fulfilled the 3%. However, out of magnanimity, I have done additional 2%. They will ask you questions naturally. Why are you doing that? You might have genuine answers, but they will ask you questions. But if you feel that will make your operations run smoothly, I don't know. It's fine, really. Okay, so the issue of capacity development, very important. It's something, as I said earlier, we encourage the settler at the inauguration ceremonies of the BOT, train them, build their capacity, and all that. But going forward now, I think it's something we need to incorporate into the CDP for not just the settler, not just the BOT, but the MC and the advisory committee too. The question about increasing the capacity of schools and healthcare, I'll leave that for Madam to answer. Okay, the issue, the last question about secular collaboration. I've gotten the details of a labor group, PPL 223. We can open up the CDP of the secular that is overlapping so that you don't repeat the same project. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Karimo. Thank you so much. I think that you've answered the question on CSR. I believe we had about 2 or 3 questions on that, so we're not going to go back to that question. I think that was a very clear answer that you provided. It's clearly stated, expressly stated in the law. However, if you see the need to be a blessing and you have the budget for that, please go ahead to do that. The questions that the first question by Mr. Ebuka on increased capacity of schools, increased capacity of hospital instead of building, how realistic is this? Do you want to go ahead to answer the question, Mrs. Uzo?
Yes, I think the comment was taken out of context. So I'd like to clear that. I was only giving it as an example. Pre-HCDT, when the operators were going into communities to mitigate gaps in health and education, it was wiser to increase capacity in existing government hospitals. Post-HCDT, the community can decide to build their own hospital and equip it and run it themselves. I hope that's clear there. Mr. Ebuka, that's clear. So it's not that the hospitals were not built, it's because of running. So it's not to build it's not the brick and mortar. It's who is going to run those facilities. So pre-HCDT, operators could not run those facilities. We don't have the capacity to run those facilities. We're oil people. So what we did with the mitigating of the gap, because what you find out, educational gaps were majorly one thing, 2, 3 things. Equipment and the educational materials were not existent in certain schools. Some schools schools needed renovation, and some schools did not have enough classrooms for the population at that place. So what we usually would suggest is increase the capacity. State government already provides the doctors, the teachers, and the doctors in the health sector. We just to give you another example, for the riverine areas in our areas of operations in those pre-HCDT, you find out that the teachers will struggle to go to those places to teach. So some companies who had those communities as maybe access communities or just host communities, basically, what they would do is take the census of the MDAs that were sent there and they report to the local government at that point and give them some subvention to ensure that they go to those places. If it's the teachers, they make sure that they go there. If it's the doctors and the nurses, they make sure they go to the riverine areas. So that's to answer that. I hope that's clear, not that those facilities can be built. Then on the CSR, I needed to add something. The law is very explicit on CSR, but we're sitting from our own end. We're a corporate company that wants to ensure, that there's a need for us to know that more needs to be done in our precincts. It's the truth. It's not a tax. You might end up doing it and it is 2%, but that's not where we're starting from. We're not advocating for it as a percentage. We're just saying there is need to remember that as a corporate company, you are obligated to do CSR. It doesn't matter what it is. It might just be something small, but it helps your brand and it helps to solidify your relationship with the community. This is just because HCDT is still in its infancy. There are going to be gaps that will not be addressed in the first few years. If you see them, please try and fix them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am. The next question, I believe still unanswered, is there a way a state government can be involved in need assessment to see the project proposed is sustainable? I mean, I will let Dr. Gbenga respond to that question. However, as I said, it's a needs assessment, and I believe that for needs assessment, you actually, the way I carry out needs assessment, you're free to speak to anybody you want to speak to. Apart from the HCDTs, you can also reach out to the local government. But the gentleman has given an example. If it comes to the part where it comes to you compromising or doing something that is against your ethics, then you can then pull out of that certain project. However, there's nothing stopping you from evolving local government, state government, because the truth still brings us back to duplicity. You don't want to duplicate a project that they're already working on. You have to speak. You need to find out what is on ground. You need to do your baseline assessment. However, I'll let those that actually work directly on this kind of project talk. I'll let Dr. Gbenga respond to that. That's just my own feedback from experience.
All right, thank you, Laura. Well, in my own opinion, I think they're already sort of involved in the needs assessment. Like she said, even though the needs assessment is a participatory rural appraisal, predominantly targeted at the beneficiaries, you need to do your desktop analysis first. And one of the things you check are the existing facilities in that place. Who built the school here? Who owns this particular health center? If they belong to the state government or local government, you are implicitly already reviewing documents in line with the government policies. There's nothing stopping you from approaching them again to find out if they have plans for such projects, expanding such projects. So I think, without saying, governments are already involved, and it takes nothing away from you to further involvement in it. For government to come in, if they're not sponsoring the exercise, I don't think they would even oblige to do much. But carrying them along in ensuring that certain things that they already have in place are captured and their own plans is captured in that CD plan is very important. So I think the government is already involved.
Thank you very much. on settlers collaboration and whether there may be overlap, Ms. Sheke, I believe that Engineer Karimu said he will speak to you on that and give you information. So on that note, I would say this brings us to the end of this panel discussion. Thank you very much, Mr. Bimbola, Mrs. Uzo, Dr. Kenneth, and Dr. Benga. It's been a very insightful conversation. Thank you so much.
Sorry. Please, I think they can get a better applause. Thank you. Okay. And that said, once again, I invite, yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, I usually joke to people that when you see people that wear suits compared to people that wear native, those of us in suits, we are like your boy. You guys are calling the shots. So there's no way we'll take any picture here without you, Engineer Karimu.